Dana, when you got here, I'm sure you had certain expectations or had an idea of how things would go. When you look at where you are right now, how different is it from what you had expected, and I guess how frustrating has it been?
We just won a game, man. I mean, golly. I mean, I know we're not SMU and 7-0. I think Sonny's doing a really good job up there. He took over a program that was kind of on a high note. You know, Chad was there, 3 years, and got those guys, winning some games, which is why he got Arkansas. And then Sonny takes over, and there's still transition. And they went, 5-7 last year and kept building it, and now they're 7-0 and 16th in the country. So by no means did I think that we were going to take over a University of Houston program and win every game. We try to, and we're going to try pretty hard here Thursday night to win this one. I thought our guys tried incredibly hard last week. For all the adversity that we've hit, guys just keep playing hard, which pleases me. So, I'm not here to try to overnight turn this thing and get the hell out of here. It's just not what I'm doing. So I think you can see with what we've done, we're going to build it the right way. And as long as our guys and coaches and players put their head down and go to work, we're gonna keep getting better. We got better last week. If we wouldn't have got better last week at some specific things, then we wouldn't have won. I don't care who you play in college football. I mean, those guys in Austin almost had a pretty big hiccup last week. So it happens every week. Wisconsin was, a 35-point favorite. Lost to Illinois, who lost to UConn, or beat UConn by a touchdown. It's college football, man, and every week's the same. So, we did some things last week that if we weren't disciplined, we wouldn't have won. We had 2 penalties, 0 turnovers, every possession ended in a kick, and we won. So I was proud of the way our guys played and glad that we did what we had to do to win. So I'm happy with where we're at. And we got a lot of really good teams ahead of us, so it's going to get hard. What do we got, 5 games left? 5 of the 6 are all like 6-1 or better. This conference is really good. I knew that coming into it. By no means did I think I'm going to go to Houston, we're going to have better players than everybody in the league. I didn't think that.
Then I want to ask you about SMU. I believe you saw Blueshell early on in his career, maybe a split and another game. But from what you've seen now this year to when you saw him then, other than being young, what jumps out at you in terms of his development and change?
He's played a lot of ball. He had a really good high school career, right? So he played a lot of high school ball, won a lot of games. Went to Texas, played early. You could tell that he was one of those guys that had been in the system like we all try to run. Is he a senior? He's a grad senior, right? Okay, I didn't know. I knew he was a grad guy, obviously, but I didn't know if he was a grad junior or grad senior. It does seem like he's been around a good bit. We went to Austin 3 years ago. He was the quarterback, and we won, and he was just a gritty, competitive kid that threw the ball really well. Texas high school quarterback, that played in a really good system in high school and has played a lot of ball. So I knew as soon as that was announced that he was going to SMU, I was like, that could be the difference in SMU season right there. And he's playing really well. He's accurate. He understands the game. Looks like he's got a pretty good rapport with a couple of those receivers. It's going to be a challenge. This is the best passing attack that we've seen this year.
You look at what's around him: Xavier Jones at running back, and then the two-headed running receivers with Proche. Is it Proche or Proche? Proche and Roberson. So he's got some weapons around him.
Oh yeah, those 2 receivers. Reggie was with me at West Virginia for a year, and he's developed into the receiver we thought he could. He's a dynamic player. He's from the Dallas area. Needed to go back home. Proche was their guy last year, right? And that dude, he single-handedly beat Tulsa. But they got 2 of them, but they're going to run the ball, and they're going to go fast. They're going to formation you. They're going to shift and motion. You know, Sonny and me go way back now. I mean, it's all air raid back in Texas Tech 2000. But Rhett is his offensive coordinator, and it looks a lot like what they've been doing at Auburn for a long time, which he's been in that system for an awful long time. So they're good. Yeah, we got our hands full.
Dana, how is Clayton progressing physically with the hammy?
Good. He's good. Yeah, he could have probably done the same thing last game that he did against Cincinnati. But it'd be the same conversation every week, you know, and he didn't respond to Cincinnati as well as we had hoped. So we just had to pump the brakes to try to get as many snaps out of him for the remainder of the year as we possibly can. So he's in a good place. You know, he practiced hard last night. You know, it's going to keep – hamstrings are funny. It sometimes takes guys 6 weeks. Sometimes takes guys 6 days. I think the bigger issue is what the recovery aspect of it is. You know, so we knew when we played we were going to have to turn around and play 5 days later. You know, so it's just trying to manage it and trying to get him as good as you can. The other thing is when you don't practice, it's hard to go in there and play. And he was rusty against Cincinnati because he could not take reps. And so they were like, he's probably not going to be able to take reps between now and UConn. So make a decision, and we did.
So you feel good about him being able to go out there on Thursday?
I do, but again, we got to go out there and practice, and we got to test it, you know. So I feel good about it. I think everybody that understands that he came back. You know, there is a bye week, and he had time to be able to recover, and he played against Cincinnati. You know, a week later, probably could have played him, but it was going to be a reoccurring theme every single week. I feel good about him being able to. He looked decent last night. I feel good about him practicing this afternoon, understanding what to do, and then being able to line up and play on Thursday. I feel good about it, but until we go practice, I don't know.
And when was the last time, I'm curious, I mean, you have your own full-time head coaching job and had for a while. When's the last time you coached Logan as a player before this year? Never have. So what
I didn't
has
do a
that,
very good job of coaching him last week. So.
What has
the one deal I made? He's like, Dad, I want to go where you're at, you know, which at the time was the previous place, and he was going there, and then I came here. He's like, I'm going where you're at. I go, that's fine. I'm not coaching you. I don't want to coach the quarterbacks. That's why I have Markwell Blackwell coaching the quarterbacks. So because I got so much other things to do. You know, obviously the head coach hat, and then there's so many other different hats that you got to wear, and so many other different players that you got to interact with, offensively, defensively, special teams. I don't have time to give the quarterbacks what they need, which is why I have a quarterback coach to give them what they need. So Mark Quell coaches him, and I treat him just like I treat everybody else.
Is there a certain unique aspect to it, though, in your mind, or something?
Maybe
cool about
I'll reflect maybe at some point. I mean, it was probably a pretty cool moment, right? I mean, your kid starts his first college game and you go win on the road in a challenging environment, in a challenging situation. You can say, well, UConn never wins. Those guys wanted to win that game pretty bad. It was their homecoming. The atmosphere was good. I didn't think it would be, and it was dang good, you know. And those guys wanted, this was their chance to be able to win, and they put a lot into it. And I was proud of the way the guys fought and had a chance to win. And you know, Logan made a few plays. He made a few plays, and he didn't do anything really stupid. You know, we didn't have any turnovers. We punted, which was good. I'll probably look back at it and say, good job there, son.
Is there anything you can clarify on Dennis Bardwell just in terms of he's not done for the years? It's a minor injury. You're expecting him to hopefully get him back?
I honestly don't know at this point. He was not out there last night. I know he had an MRI and he's meeting with the doctors, so I don't know. Which means he may be back this afternoon, and which means he may be done for the year. I don't know.
Coach, you guys dealt with a lot of issues of having quick turnaround between games, and so how does it feel to be back in that situation? You know, having to go from Saturday beating UConn to having to play SMU on Thursday.
Yeah, it ain't easy. Just when you think it couldn't get worse from what we dealt with earlier in the year. Not complaining, nobody cares, nobody wants to hear it, but I'll say it anyway. 6 days play, 6 days play, 6 days play. You know, and now we got 5 days play. So it's, you know, and it's when we probably got more injured guys than we've had all year. But like I said, nobody wants to hear that. We'll get our guys ready to go. I'm confident in our coaches. We were up here Saturday night once we got home. We were up here Sunday morning, late last night. We'll do what we got to do. The players, we got to be careful about how much we practice and prepare because our guys are beat up and they're sore. I would imagine SMU's in the same situation. They've played 7 games. They got a 5-day window too. So as long as it's even and they're dealing with the same things that we're dealing with, we'll be able to handle it just fine. I know our players are excited about playing on Thursday. They're going to get out there and practice and prepare a little bit here this afternoon, and we'll line up and know what to do on Thursday.
Dana, was Curvin available on in terms, or was that just was with Edgerton, or just something developed?
We really didn't want to play Edgerton another week. He wasn't ready to play. Appreciate him trying because we're down to like 1 linebacker. So Curvin got hurt on Thursday. He twisted his ankle on Thursday. We took him on the trip to see how much he would progress, and it was a game-time decision. He couldn't go. So we were forced to play Edgerton more than we wanted to, and he's not quite ready to go yet. How they're going to be Thursday, I don't know. We'll see how they are this afternoon. They're not ruled out, but we'll see how they progress throughout the week and play whoever looks better in practice today.
Is it similar with Patrick? Just it's the position, you're banged up, and it's something you deal with. But is he kind of a wait and see as you go week to week?
Patrick?
Yeah, Carr.
Yeah, he's week to week. He didn't make the trip last week, which means he's probably another week or 2 away. So it's what it is, man. You line up and you play with who you got. I'm not complaining about it. I'm proud of how our guys they don't complain about it either. They don't really care who's next to them or any of that. They line up and play. I mean, it's college football and guys got to step up.
Dana, you mentioned earlier discipline. You guys are fewer than 5 penalties a game. I guess how important and how big has that been for you? How pleased are you with that number?
It's good, other than Pac-12 refs. That's the only game that we've been really it just is. I mean, they can't find me, right? I don't think they can, but it's the only crew that we've had that we had like 10-plus penalties. The rest of it, I think we've been good. To me, playing smart is not doing like real stupid things, which we have not done that. We haven't been undisciplined with stupid things, but be disciplined with your technique too. And I think we've done a good job of not being egregious with holdings, not be egregious with pass interference or illegal blocks and stuff like that. So I've been happy with that. And then I think we're doing a relatively good job of protecting the football as well. I know the one glaring game against Cincinnati, we had a couple of forced picks, at the end of the half and the end of the quarter, or the end of the game. But other than that, I've been happy with that. That's something we preach a lot, and I think our guys are listening.
I know you're involved in your own program, but knowing Sonny the way you do, what, in your opinion, made him a good fit for SMU and why they've been successful?
He's in our 8 years at Tech, we're 6 years at Tech together, in 2000 and 2006. Became really good friends, but I would always go to Houston and recruit, and he would always go to Dallas and recruit. So SMU has always kind of been one of his jobs that he's always wanted. Much like Houston's always been a job that I've wanted. So obviously, his dad, was very instrumental in his upbringing when it comes to college football. And, Sonny was a baseball guy growing up, but just being around football as much as he was and being very intimate with the high school coaches here in Texas and his love affair with the city of Dallas, I think, just makes that a really good fit for him.
How pleased have you been with Jeremy Singleton's progress this year? He's kind of emerged as that second guy behind Marquez, and last week being obvious with the double move on the touchdown.
Yeah, he's getting better weekly. His confidence is getting better. You made that play early. Him and Bryson got a pretty good little connection right there. And we're going to continue to do stuff like that with Bryson. Just he's he's getting better at it. He's pretty natural at it, but he's getting better at it. So I like where Bryson's at. And then Jeremy, from a receiving standpoint, is becoming pretty dependable. You know, I thought he could have got a little bit more separation and caught one of those deep balls early. He got close. But just the dependable nature with what he brings is something that excites me for the future with him.
With the quarterback situation the way it is, it's hard to develop the deep ball. When you get moments like that, it's almost, you know, it's refreshing me that you want to do that stuff. It just hasn't been there.
It has, and it's been perplexing now, just because it wasn't there in the spring, and it was frustrating, and it was a combination of, you know, just the quarterbacks not putting it where they needed to be putting it, the timing, the receivers not getting off coverage. I mean, just there's a lot of their technique was not good, you know, and we've improved on it. You know, the last 2 weeks we've hit, you know, 6 or 7 deep balls that didn't exist for the first 5 games, really, you know. So these guys got it at SMU. I mean, those guys, the deep balls that they got, the timing aspect of it is really good. We got to do a better job of protecting too. I mean, you got to have time to be able to set things up. You know, the double move that Jeremy had, we had that thing set up, and he ran it beautifully, and I thought Logan threw a perfect pass, and it was a big moment in that game. It was one of the 4 plays that changed that game. So we need to keep working at it, and we will. We'll keep getting better.